But yeah, it's just funny, dude, because like, so I played college football, and we never had any saunas, but we had a hot tub and a cold tub, and it was just like a normal thing at the time.
Right.
But now it's like a thing,
Right.
you know, and it's kind of funny, like to just to see how that's it just blown up, the concept of it. And I know you're a big believer in it, but yeah, I was never like, oh, this is helping with my wellness or my mental, you know. It was always just like I need to get my legs feeling good.
Right. Well, you know, it's funny. Like my first kind of experience, I think, with cold plunge, I'm not a group fitness guy. I just haven't been. Nothing against group fitness, but it's just not been my. Like I like to kind of throw my headphones on, throw my hat down low, and just kind of go.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I've been in all the sports. Are we rolling right now?
Yeah, we're good, dude.
Oh,
You're
cool.
good.
And like in all the sports that I've done over the years, I mean, it started out with Muay Thai kickboxing, and I got just completely obsessed with that sport, and ended up going out to Thailand and training there and fighting and like really.
How long were you in Thailand?
I was in Thailand for 6 weeks, and I kind of lived with two different hyper competitive Muay Thai camps there.
Wow.
One was called JT in Bangkok, and they were kind of like one of the greatest camps in Thailand for their fighters, but also just for like, you know, Americans going there to train. Yeah. And so I lived there for like 3 or 4 weeks, and then I went out to another one was a little bit more low key, but it was amazing training, and it called Horizon Muay Thai. But I fell in love with that sport, and you know, it's a solo sport, really.
Yeah.
Right. Like it's you know, obviously you go against an opponent, but you know, you're competing against yourself for the most part in that sport.
Yeah, what's the similarities between like Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu?
Well, Muay Thai is a stand-up. Jiu-Jitsu is predominantly on the ground. So like you will start standing in some Jiu-Jitsu settings, but for the most part, you kind of start on the ground, and it's like wrestling Jiu-Jitsu. Muay Thai is a striking sport. So it's boxing. It's Muay Thai kickboxing. Yeah.
Okay, so there's no like takedowns or.
No, I mean, there's grappling, right? So like you're in the clinch, like I'll have my hands, you know, typically on the, like when you get into the clinch, it's basically wrestling.
Yeah, yeah.
Stand-up wrestling. So my hands are behind your head, and I'm trying to throw you to the ground. Yeah. Or turn you, knee you on a turn, take you off balance. It's similar to jiu-jitsu in the sense that like it's a leverage thing. So like my last coach, my last Muay Thai crew was a savage, but like I didn't actually enjoy my relationship with him, quite frankly. But he was an incredible practitioner, and when I would clinch with him, he didn't even use his hands with mine. He would clinch with me, just hands down, and he was so sensitive to weight and leverage. And he was also probably 40 pounds heavier than I was, but regardless, like he could sense where I was putting my weight on my right foot, and as soon as I put my weight on my right foot, he tossed me to the right side. Yeah, because he knew that my left foot was off.
That's crazy, dude. That's a good skill to have.
But I was just saying that the point of what I was making was that like I ended up going to this place called Tone House in New York City when they first opened. It got to be like 2016, something like that, 15, 16, and it was one of the most. Probably still one of the most difficult workouts in New York, if not the most difficult workouts in New York in a group setting. And lots of like football guys would go to that. Just hardcore athletes would end up there because
it's called Tone.
Called Tone House.
Tone House. I've heard of that before. What's the workout like? Is it
super high intensity,
like CrossFit-esque or like type?
Like a lot of agility, a lot of like fast pace, fast moving, fast feet on the ground, stand up, fast feet, you know, cone work, rope work.
Okay, that's
like,
funny. That doesn't exist anymore, really. I feel like that's not a thing.
But like the guy who created Tone House, I don't think he was an NFL guy, but I think he was like a big college football guy. Yeah. And so he just took a lot of that kind of college football, fast feet, fast moving sort of running back style work that I'm sure you spent a lot of time.
Oh, yeah, dude. That's fun. That'd be kind of cool thing to implement because that's, like, I feel like that'd be really good for just normal people to figure out how to do, you know?
Totally.
Like, most people, like, it's just funny seeing, I mean, I use, like, some of my family members, for example, but, like, they go down in a lunge and they can't even, like, stand up, you know? And it's just, but, like, when you're an athlete, it's just, like, that's, like, a normal thing to do. But, like, for most humans, it's just not a normal thing to do.
Well, they did also, like, a lot of, like, galloping, like, hands and feet, like, kind of just intense, like really hard stuff. And I say that, like, as an athlete, really hard stuff.
Yeah.
Sprint work, a lot of sprint work, galloping on your hands and feet, kind of like, you know, like a bear, you know, a lot of bear crawl stuff, like tough stuff. Anyway, my introduction to cold plunging was in the locker room at Tone House. They just had they had what was a jacuzzi at one point, no hot water in there. It was cold water and ice. And you know, you'd finish that workout and you'd just go kind of jump in that thing.
So that was like your kind of first time doing
getting into it. And then, you know, and then I would, you know, I had a house in upstate New York on the weekends. And the weekends I would get you know, I had one of those troughs, those like horse troughs, and fill it with water and ice. And I did that.
Oh, yeah.
And then slowly graduated into, you know, the plunge, which is what I have now, which I love. I love that thing. I mean, I've had the plunge. I think is the greatest. I think it's the best cold plunge in the game. And I had one. I bought one, and probably like right when they first launched, because I knew that I wanted something. But I knew that I was exploring cold plunges, and when I saw that these guys had launched a plunge that you didn't need to put ice in, that was just going to keep the water cold, keep the water moving. It was a big investment for me at the time, but I was like, I love this so much that I'm just going to do it. And so I've been plunging ever since.
That's cool, man. Yeah, I'm now, like, even just doing it before this podcast, you know, like it kind of, I was feeling a little bit of anxiety, all that kind of stuff, and just doing like the contrast, like, because I don't like to just do the sauna, just do the cold plunge without the sauna now, because it almost, I don't know, I feel like I just get way too anxious and then jittery after. But like, it's kind of nice to have the both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, I'm a big believer in it.
My kind of traditional ritual with it is early in the morning, in the sauna for 20 minutes, get some reading in, hop in the cold, and I kind of just do one round of that. You know, I'll do 20 minutes in the sauna, 3 to 5 minutes in the cold, and then I'm done getting my day going. You know, but like, if I'm training for the marathon.
Which one?
New York.
Oh, when is that?
November 2nd.
Oh, jeez, dude, that would have been so fun to do.
Yeah, I'm doing that.
That's so cool.
I mean, barring any kind of like crazy, you know, injury, I'm gonna do it.
Yeah.
And like on a long run day, there's nothing feels better than coming right back and jumping into the
I bet, dude. Yeah, that's what I need to do more, is implement that with my training. Well, dude, I didn't give like a super good intro, but cool. Michael Chernow, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude. I mean, this is like a really cool moment for me. I know you're so used to this, but like, just even having Austin here, I don't care that I'm pointing at you, by the way. Austin's here. But just like, I didn't even know he was going to be filming you either. That's the cool part, right? Like, we're really good friends, and just seeing like where, at least me personally, like, came from to kind of seeing you. You're a big inspiration for me, especially with like your restaurants and everything. At the time that I first kind of discovered you, I didn't understand the concept of what it meant to be like a business owner. I didn't understand the concept of being a very good husband, very good father, right? And I feel like I was kind of in a dark place at that time. And this is kind of when me and Austin were working together. This was post my football career, and just like super lost, you know. But yeah, super grateful,
dude.
So thank you.
I'm grateful that you reached out. I'm grateful that we're here, and you know, I when I think about how I'm super grateful that I've been able to say some things that have impacted people's lives over the years, right? One thing that I've learned over my journey is to really be comfortable sharing my story and my experience, because everyone has one. Everybody has a story. Everybody walks through life and collects experiences. Not enough people are comfortable and or willing to share about them. For me, I have found that sharing my story, all of them, the good and the bad, has been super relatable for people. Where so much so that, like, I'll meet somebody for the first time at an event and they'll tell me, "Oh, dude, I've been following you for so like for me that is such a bizarre feeling to have someone say that to me." Yeah. Stop me in the street and be like, "Dude, I follow you on Instagram. Like, thank you." I'm like, "Whoa, that's wild," because it's literally just me out there telling the experiences that I've walked through in life. And the fact that we have access to that stuff today, I think has led way more people to feel confident in sharing their story. Because again, like I said, man, everybody has one, you know? And before I opened up the meatball shop, I was a bartender that just got lucky enough to get sober, you know? And once I realized that, like, you know, that's a story. I mean, there's a real story in that. And then I got successful with Meatball Shop, and then I did something. I began to gain courage, and I felt confidence from the consistency, the habits that I would stick to. I call it the 3 C's, right? It's commitment is the hardest thing in life. Mm-hmm. It just is, right? Like, if you want anything, what stops people from the wants from the haves is the do part. It's the do part. The do is the commitment.
Yeah.
Right? Because want plus do will equal have in time. It's just that simple. Right? Someone wants to lose weight. They want to lose weight really, really bad. But at 8:30 at night, when that sugar tooth creeps in and they're walking past the pantry, yeah, they're just not willing to commit to keep on walking. They take a pit stop. And there goes the do part. Like, the want plus do equals have. It just does over time. And so I have just figured, like, when I got sober, I realized that now I've been in recovery for 21 years. I had the power through God, honestly. I mean, I don't know how your audience feels about God. I'm deeply passionate about God.
We love God.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
God has been always, for me, once I made the decision to change my life, God has always been there for me. And my relationship with God is deepening way more now than honestly, I was talking to Austin about this yesterday. Like, we could talk about that, but ultimately, I learned that I was able to do what I said I was going to do through getting sober. That it was the biggest commitment I ever made in my life at that time, and I was able to do it. And I figured out that this is a day-at-a-time thing, and I can apply this ability to commit to anything in my life that I want. It's not just getting sober. It was, man, I wanted to get in the greatest shape of my life. Boom. All I had to do was commit, stick to my plan, do what I said I was going to do. I wanted to, I met the woman of my dreams. I wanted to make her my wife. Well, I knew that I wanted it. The one way to have it was I had to make that commitment. And a year after I met her, I asked her to marry me. And that was it. I committed to that woman. And boom, 20 years later, she's still the woman of my dreams. We have 2 wonderful children. We fight like dogs sometimes. We get back up. We make the commitment to spend the rest of our lives with each other. We communicate, and so commitment is everything. So the 3 C's: commit, Number one, hardest one for everyone. But once you commit, that commitment done consistently over time, all it's going to do is breed confidence, right? It's just you commit, you stand at the free throw, boom, I'm going to take 100 shots. Day 1, you make 20%. Day 2, you make 21%. Day 30, you're making 35%. Day 50, you're doing the same thing. You're standing at the free throw and you're throwing the ball. But at day 175, you're at 75, 80%. Now, when you got to go in game time to stand at the free throw line and shoot that ball, your confidence is through the roof. You're not nervous. You've done it 7,000 times over the last 100 days. You know what I'm saying? So that confidence is there, right? So the commitment just ultimately breeds confidence. And at the end of it all, what the number one requirement for greatness, as far as I'm concerned, or even trying to scratch the surface of greatness, is courage. The 3 C's: commit, confidence, courage. Those 3 things in succession. And once you have, once you've committed and you feel confident about the ability to commit, man, you start to take risk, and those risks become far less scary when, you've been in the ring 100 times and that punch to the jaw, it's going to rock you, but it's not going to kill you,
Yeah. So how do you, gosh, there's a lot I want to unpack. So with the commitment part, how do you differentiate when, like, say you're committed to something, okay, and you're taking action on it and you're getting a lot of fruit from it, right? And then, like for you, like when it comes to whether it be burnout or whatever you want to call that, right? You're tired of the mundane. Like, how has like sobriety helped you with that part of like just, because for the most part, what I've seen, at least in my life, when I'm doing really well at something, I'm usually pretty bored, right? And I try to, but then you get to like a new level. You're like, oh, like there's a few nuances I need to switch or upgrade. Like these little tiny. It's like what they say, like 0 to, I don't know, like 0 to 50 is kind of the easier part, but then like 50 to like 51 is like tough, right? It's like that 1% gains after you kind of figure something out. But like, how has sobriety shifted your mind in that sense to try to like extract just a little bit more out of yourself when you feel like you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing?
I mean, I am notorious for placing challenges in my path purposefully. Like, if there's not adversity in my day-to-day, I'm the kind of guy that loves to navigate and loves to lift up rocks and discover and hunt, and that's who I am. So if it's not there naturally or organically, I'm going to create it. I'm going to put a marathon in my path. I'm going to, propose to my team that, like, hey, we said we were going to do this. We're definitely on the way to getting there. Let's just take a little bit of a stretch here. Let's see what we can do. And the beauty of sobriety for me is I am a gladiator. I do not take the edge off, ever. I don't go home after a heavy day of work, after a heavy week of work, and just kick back with a whiskey on ice or a joint or a whatever, a pill. I'm sitting there staring the beast in the eyes all the time. And I have had to figure out ways to get comfortable in that discomfort, right? So, and I'm not dude, by no means am I an expert at that, right? Like there are things that I still have massive anxiety about. But sobriety has given me, I am the guy, no matter how tough it gets, that is going to show up. Like, I am not, like, that is what sobriety has given me. I am the show up guy. I'm not telling you that I'm going to win every single race. I'm not going to, I'm not going to hit every single KPI. But man, you better believe this man right here is going to show up in every aspect of my life. And that is because I don't drink or do drugs.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. Like, I just don't, Sobriety has given me all the value I have in my life all of it, has come from my commitment to recovery and sobriety.
Yeah. I mean, for you, thank you for sharing that, by the way.
Yeah.
Who are your, like, in this whole process, who are your mentors? Do you have any, or is it just, are you just like, I'm solo dolo, I can do it myself, or?
Oh, dude, I got.
You don't seem like that kind of guy, but.
I got a long list of mentors.
Yeah.
I gotta shout out my boy Marcus Antebi, who is a fellow entrepreneur, but he was the first guy that I met when I got sober, and he saved my life. He's always been, he's my buddy, and we talk, pretty regularly, but every year on my sober anniversary, I call him with the big ask. Hey, dude, like I'm a year further down the road in this journey. Drop a gem on me, man. Just like, what do you got for me this year? And this year, actually, my anniversary was last month. He said, the one thing that I would propose you consider and think about is when you're just, we're mindfulness is something that we're certainly taught in the world of sobriety, and it's become way more mainstream now to like this meditation is good for everyone thing.
Yeah.
But he said,
is that what you mean by mindfulness? Just like
meditation in general, right?
Okay.
Just like pausing and staying, being silent for a little while on a regular basis, and whether it's every day or every few days, like it's a good thing for human beings to do, especially with phones, and we don't give ourselves a lot of time to cool the mind outside of when we sleep, and even when we sleep, minds
going a million miles an hour,
right?
Yeah.
So I've been meditating in the morning for years, on and off. But he said more than just that meditation practice, throughout your day, be mindful of your breath. Just throughout your day. A lot of us are not breathing well, and we hold our breath for a long time. It messes with our diaphragm. Just like being mindful of the breath throughout the day, just kind of like pause whenever you can, just kind of pause, close your eyes for a second, and just make sure you're just like breathing. You're breathing, because the breath, like so much has happened for me in breath work. So much.
Yeah, that's definitely something I need to implement more. Like it's funny, there's kind of a business that I've been working on the side right now, but I call it Selah.
Mm-hmm.
There's a word from the Bible that's like pause, reflect, ponder. And that's something I've been really trying to focus on. My wife, even right now, she's doing like a 40-day, I guess you'd call it like a scripture challenge, where like every morning you read these passages. It has to do with like the Beatitudes of Christ, and then we go into kind of a like pondering, reflection state. But that's helped me a lot, and it's just something I don't know. Sometimes I think maybe when you're just busy, I don't know, you just don't think it's important, and yeah, I feel like that's probably the one thing I've been lacking over the past probably few years, is just to like sit and just like
pause.
Just pause. Yeah, like no phone, no nothing. And it's obviously hard with kids, but yeah, I just think it's super important.
Pause is I'll tell you that. Well, so Marcus has been a great mentor of mine. There's been a number of mentors in the world of business for me. Mentorship is something that, I've got a guy named John Silverman now, who is he's just a wonderful human being, and he's been successful in all areas of his life. And so he's kind of like my go-to guy now, who I call when I need to like open up the safe and stare at the important shit. He's been that guy for me. But yeah, mentorship, I think is mentors have been monumental for me along the way. But one thing I wanted to mention about the pause, like a big shift for me in my relationship with God now is I've been praying for many years, and for many years, I thought that was, and by the way, has served me well, but I thought that was like what the relationship with God was. On my knees every morning with my hand in my head in my hands, asking God for help and asking him to remove my fears and my insecurities, my character defects, my character assassinations, my wrong thinking, my rationalizing, asking for him to help me with these things that I battle with, that a lot of us battle with, to remove them. And, I kind of went from that to asking God to also now bring in positive things, joy and happiness and kindness and courage and confidence and commitment and, presence and positivity, optimism, like all these things that I kind of asked for in my prayers. But I would say my prayer and then I would kind of just like wrap it up and do my push-ups. And I was not giving myself any time to listen at all. Like it was like, I'm just talking to you and then I'm out. And now how my practice has transitioned or has shifted is I just kind of pause and just give myself the chance to listen to what God has to say back to me, And, the power in the pause is a term that I've used for a long time in business. And what that meant for me was like, as a young entrepreneur coming up, I used to really, really want to hear my own voice. Any opportunity I'd get to talk, I'd sit at a board meeting and, man, you gotta like my opinion. Like I'm the founder of this thing. Like my opinion really matters.
Yeah.
And I had this really mentor of mine who ended up buying a bunch of equity of mine in both of my companies, Meatball Shop and Seymour's. He gave me one of the greatest pieces of advice ever, and it came in a really harsh way, but I needed to hear it that way. After a board meeting once, he said to me, "Can I take you out for a cup of coffee?" And I was like, absolutely. I'm thinking he's going to, pat me on the back and say, good job, dude. And we go sit down and have a coffee. I'm like ready for his compliment. And he goes, "Can I be frank with you?" And I was like, uh-oh. Yeah, sure. And he goes, "You need to learn how to shut your fucking mouth." And I was like,
oh, man.
What do you, I turned like white as a ghost.
Yeah.
He's like, you just talk way too much. And every time you open your mouth, something you say rubs me the wrong way. So you would be so much better off just listening. Because you're young. I was 32, I guess, at the time. He's like, you're young. You've got so much to learn. You're not going to learn anything by talking. It's just not going to teach you anything. You got to sit back and observe, man. So in the next board meeting, next quarter, do me a favor. Don't say a word. And let's catch up after that. And I want to see the difference between this board meeting and that board meeting for you. And he taught me the power is in the pause. And that's when I kind of coined that term. The power is in the pause. And I learned so much more about who I was by practicing restraint on feeling like I needed to say something. Because typically what I learned through this practice was anything that I wanted in my business that was actually the right thing happened without me having to ask for it. And had I asked for it, maybe I would have rubbed somebody the wrong way and it wouldn't have actually come to fruition. So now I'm applying that to not only, I've been applying that to business a lot, but also to my relationship with God, and more will be revealed,
Yeah, dude, that's massive because I'm in door-to-door sales, and that's something that I've kind of learned recently too. Like, I know this isn't really related, but it kind of is. But just how good people are at actually convincing themselves and making a good decision by themselves. But like a lot of times I'll give the pitch or whatever, and I'll just like stop talking. And then they just kind of talk themselves into doing what I want them to do anyway. Mm-hmm. So it is kind of interesting you say that from a business standpoint. But yeah, from like a prayer standpoint, even now I'm still like so guilty of it. I've always been a very religious, still am, but I'm just saying, like, you know, I served a 2-year mission for my church, did all the whole shebang, and throughout that whole time, like, I never really got into that, like, reflection with, like you were saying, like, just listening to God, because I'm a super impatient person. That's a problem for me. like I'm super impatient. Yeah, my wife would tell you that. But it's just like, how do you manage that? I guess is my question. How do you prioritize it? I mean, maybe that's not the right question. You just do it, right?
What?
Like, even with, like, just the pause, like the reflection, like even with kids. Right? I got 2 young kids right now. Never really get a whole lot of alone time, right? As you probably know. But yeah, how do you set aside time? Do you do it in the morning, mostly evening, or do you just, like, go in a bathroom?
Well, I mean, I think so. I mean, meditation has always been something that has really has been super helpful for me. And even though I'm not a great meditator, I force myself to do it. It gives me an opportunity. You know, look, I do it in the morning. The morning tends to be a time. I wish I could meditate later on at night, but I just haven't gotten there yet. The morning, my mind is racing, and my cortisol levels are at an all-time, or at their peak typically when you first wake up. So, like, I'm practice, like, that is, like, the most challenging time to practice meditation, because everything in my body wants to say, okay, we got to get the day going, but I'm sort of fighting against it so that I could just. I'm placing that adversity in my path for the day. Like, I want to run, I want to go as fast as I can, and I'm forcing myself to be still and listen to my breath, be patient. Another thing that I've started doing, which I think has been super helpful for me, is I carve out about 10 minutes at the end of my day in the office, not at home, but, like, at my office, because I have a little office that I work out of. And I carve out about 10 minutes, and I've started doing this, you know, at least 2 to 3 days a week, where I open up a journal and I open up my phone and look at my calendar, and I reflect on the day, all the things that happened throughout the day, and I write a little bit about each one of them. And what it's given me the opportunity to see is that I could go through life for years without thinking about what I did that day. Like, you do all these things, and you wake up in the morning, and before you know it, it's dinner time and you're getting ready for bed. But how often do you spend thinking about how you conducted or what you did throughout the day? Very rarely, you know? And, you know, for a while at dinner with my wife and kids, you know, we would do rosebud, thorn, and seed with our kids, which is basically...
Yeah, what is that?
So rosebud, thorn, and seed. So rose is one thing that happened that was awesome, today. Bud is something that you're looking forward to. Thorn is something that was not awesome that day. And seed is a way that you were of service to someone else today.
Well, that's fun.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And so we did rosebud, thorn, and seed for a long time. And, you know, as soon as my kids surpassed 5 years old, 6 years old, they were like, Dad, do we really have to do it? And I was like, guys, like, if we stop doing this now, we're never going to think about what the day brought us in value and how we could be better. They rarely want to do it anymore. I also have a thing that I do with my sons that I think we should talk about at the end of the night when I put them down, that is just so makes me, I get emotional even just thinking about it. But it's something that I love that I do with those boys. But ultimately, the rosebud, thorn, and seed was a great way to do it, and then that kind of stopped about 2 or 3 years ago.
How old are they now?
10 and 8.
Oh, yeah.
They're too cool for it.
Yeah.
But
so funny.
Now, because that stopped, because that was a good way for me and my wife and my kids to kind of think about the day a little bit. Now I write about it, and I get 10 minutes to just jot down some things that were like, okay, that really stood out for me. Oh, wait a second. I spoke to that guy. You know what? I need to make sure that I email that guy in the morning. So I have my whiteboard that sits right here. So I'll go through that. I'll write a little thing about it, and I'll just be like, boom, first thing in the morning, this is who I'm emailing, just as a follow-up, you know? So that's been a great way to reflect in the pause. Like, okay, I could easily just get up and get out, get in my truck, drive home, have dinner, go to, do the whole thing. Or I could just like, boom, 10 minutes, dude, 10 minutes. This is a 10-minute period of time that you can really reflect. Pause, reflect on what happened that day, appreciate what happened that day, take a couple of notes, potentially of actions for tomorrow, and maybe see where you could have potentially conducted a little bit better, you know?
Yeah, dude, that's a great idea. I just need to, I think that's the thing. You know, one of my mentors, I remember him saying, you know, the word priorities, it was never meant to be plural. I know. Right? Yeah, you've probably heard this before. But yeah, it's kind of funny how we have priorities now versus just a priority.
Yeah, I read that in, I think the book is The Comfort Crisis, or it's either The Comfort Crisis by Michael Easter, or it's Obstacle is the Way, potentially.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I think that's actually Obstacle is the Way is where he quoted from. There's another book I love. It's called Aspire. So my mentor gave this to me. This is kind of what inspired me to do this. But, yeah, so the word, actually that's why I made this shirt. So the word passion, it's derived from, I mean, I guess its original derivative means sacred suffering. And that's kind of what drew me to like just the power of words and the importance of that kind of stuff. But anyway, sorry. But like priority, yeah, it's like I feel like I just need to, with the reflection thing you were just talking about, just kind of like put it in my day. Like what you said, 10 minutes, you write that stuff
10
down.
10 minutes, man. It's a game changer.
Yeah, it's like, because in my head I'm thinking like, okay, well, I could use that 10 minutes to maybe reach out to 10 more people for the business or whatever, you know.
They're always going to be there.
There's always, yeah. It's
Those
like,
people are always going to be there.
Yeah, and that's my issue. I think it's too much of a scarcity mindset, probably, really.
Well, it's also like, you know, you can kind of look at it like you're an athlete, I'm an athlete, I've been an athlete a long time, you've been an athlete a long time. You're a far more sort of like championed athlete than I have. You played at D1 school, like you understand the real sort of the live and die by the athlete sword kind of thing. I've just done it for hobby as in my life. But like the recovery part of being an athlete is the hardest part for most people, right? Yeah. Like you want to get the work in, you want to lift hard, you want to run hard, you want to get the reps, you want to do that. But like, you know, the 15 minutes that's typically prescribed for stretching out, mobility, whatever it is, like that's the hardest part for me. The hardest part.
Yeah.
Which is, quite frankly, like arguably the most important part.
Yeah. That's what makes you feel good. And yeah.
You know? And so when you think about it, right, that 10 minutes of reflection is what makes the day like worth it.
Yeah.
And we're like so quick to skip over it.
Yeah. And I think it'll help me just be more present too. Like when I put my kids to bed and stuff, I'm not like so thinking about stuff that doesn't even matter really. You know, how have you found that, like with, you know, because you were in the restaurant business. Are you still in it? Or are you done with?
I mean, I own equity in some of the restaurants, but I'm not.
So, like, I guess it still applies. Like with Creatures of Habit, doing all that stuff. Like, how do you feel like you? It's tough, like the work-life balance thing. Or are you like work-life integration? Like, are you kind of always on, or do you really just try to turn it off?
It's a great question. I'm pretty proud of myself in my ability to have now drawn very, very thick boundaries and stick to them in terms of what time I start and what time I finish, and my non-negotiables. My family is my priority, you know. And I mean, actually, I should reframe that. I'm my priority. My family is a very close second. They just are a super close second. Because if I'm not the one that I'm focused on making well, I'm not going to show up as the dad and the husband that I want to be. So I really do prioritize myself there. But I don't sacrifice time with the wife and kids. Like I wake up early in the morning to get a lot of that stuff done.
Yeah. What do you tell people that say that like you're selfish for being as fit as you are?
I'm so, you know, proud that you feel that way. I've spent a lot of time working on this guy, and ask my wife if if she'd rather have a different person.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Ask my sons about, you know, their relationship with their dad and how fathering them has been, you know, made a lot better because I am focused on making sure that I'm well.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of, I feel like there's almost two types of selfishness. Like, I mean, that's another word. I'd love to just like figure out the root of that word. Because it's like, okay, like people might say, and I've heard this before, like people will say like, oh, you're selfish for how much you work out or what type of food you eat and stuff. I'm like, well, first off, like I don't think my wife would want me to be like obese. Right. I mean, I guess that's extreme. That's the opposite extreme, right? Mm-hmm. Maybe she'd like me be a little chubbier. She's told me that before. She's like, man, you're too hard to lay on or whatever. But it's like, I'm serious. She tells me that sometimes. But like, I do feel like they're both selfish. Like being gluttonous is selfish. Being super fit is selfish. But it's almost like selfish in a good way because you're taking care of a vessel that you've been
for me, it's a very different thing, right? Like, if you're working out on a Saturday in the middle of the day when you could be hanging out with your wife and kids, and, you know, like it's interfering that way in your family life. Yeah. The person who's gluttonous is not only selfish, and I'm not saying, look, there's like... we're using this as an example. Right. The person who is indulging, and typically it's a lot of the time it's like they have a control issue. It's out of their control. They're obsessing over food as an addiction typically. Mm-hmm. So I have a lot of empathy there. Yeah. But ultimately, it's a crutch for them, but they don't feel good about it. Right? Mm-hmm. They don't feel good about it. Yeah. When somebody works out, that could also be a crutch. It's a you know, they say exercise is the greatest anti-anxiety, antidepressant in the world. But the difference between that and this is that this makes you feel really good. So when you walk around feeling really good because you know you take care of yourself, you just show up different. Showing up, I'm the show up man. I want to show up strong for everybody in my life. And there are going to be things that knock me out. There are going to be things that bring stress and anxiety into my world, you know? Yeah. But I just know that, like, if I continue to keep putting the right foot in front of the left, that's what sobriety's taught me. You know, no matter what happens, like, I've got to keep my sobriety separate from life, right? Like, if this is intertwined with all the things here, it's going to be impossible to keep this healthy, this sacred. This is going to be like a boat at sea, man. It's going to twist, it's going to turn, it's going to rock, it's going to almost topple over. Like this piece here, this sobriety thing, for me, if this goes, that boat goes over, you know? Yeah. I keep them separate.
Yeah. No, that's cool. So from a business standpoint, do you feel like you'll ever get back into restauranting?
Probably. I love it. Yeah. You know,
what do you love about it?
I am I think I was born to connect with humans at scale. That's my passion. I love people. I could talk to anyone anywhere for any period of time and not get bored, not get tired, not get just do it around the clock. If that was my job, strictly to just talk to people, make great conversation, that's my passion and I live for it. Like I get so excited about it. Meeting new people, connecting with humans. There's no better place to do that than in the world of restaurants. And so that's what I love most.
So that's the main thing you love about it.
That's
crazy. That's not the answer I would have expected. Because I feel like I'm the same way. Like I get like my wife, she's very good with talking to people, right? But then it exhausts her. To me, like gives me energy.
Oh yeah.
Like when I talk to people, I'm just like, let's go. Yeah. You know, like when me and Austin go to the gym together, like I just, love our conversations, right? Doing the podcast, that's why I love doing this. I just love hearing people's stories. That's why I do sales, because I just like talking to people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that is a cool answer, because I feel like, and I think a big reason why I have kind of connected with you, I love cooking. Huge, love cooking.
Me
I love
too.
Cooking healthy food that tastes delicious.
That's
like
my jam.
That is like, yeah. I know that's your jam. But yeah, that's because like my mom, she's Italian, and we're actually going to Italy next month, and
cool.
I am like so excited to try that food. Yeah.
Have you not been there?
No, never.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
where are you going?
We're flying into Rome. So Rome for 3 days, Florence 3 days, and then Cinque Terre, I think it's called.
Cinque Terre.
Cinque Terre, is that, yeah? Have you been there?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah, Italy is amazing.
Yeah, well, you should send me any restaurant recommendations.
I will,
yeah,
for sure.
If you know anybody, because, yeah, I'm like so stoked. I just
got to make sure you got to get a steak in Florence, for sure.
Yeah, that's so,
Got to get a steak in Florence.
List,
There's you're going to want to look for tagliata Toscana. I'll send you that. It's like, that's kind of it's like basically like a flank / hanger steak there. They do it, they marinate it, slice it thin.
Oh my gosh,
so good.
It sounds amazing. I'm so excited. I was telling her, like, any sort of budget we have, like, it's all going to food, because I just don't even. That's all I care about. Yeah. Honestly, just like working out and eating really good food. That's really
totally. Good. I'm with you. That's those are the two things that I love a lot.
No, that's cool, dude. So, what inspired? And I kind of know the story, but for the audience, what inspired Creatures of Habit?
Well, I was in the restaurant business for a long time. I worked in restaurants. My first real job was in a restaurant when I was 12. Kind of fell in love with that part of, I was a young guy, and being around older people, escaping my childhood home, where I grew up was grew up in a really tough situation. My dad was a really tough guy, not a loving, warm and fuzzy guy, even though I now know that I'm sure he loved me. He just didn't have the tools. He didn't know. Yeah. He grew up, my grandfather was a hardcore naval officer, was in the Navy for 45 years, was really hard on my dad. My dad was a diabetic. I'm sure my grandfather, wanted my father to be in the Navy, but the Navy wouldn't accept him because he was a diabetic. Yeah. So that made it really tough.
That's cool. You have the perspective to, like, recognize and, like, have grace for that. That's cool.
Yeah, I mean, for years I struggled with that, of course, but now, being 21 years into recovery, like, I don't blame my father for any of the decisions I've made. I'm actually kind of grateful for. Look, if I had a white picket fence upbringing, there's no chance I'm sitting here today. Just it's not happening. Now, I don't wish the life that I kind of had growing up on anyone, because it was really hard. My dad was really tough on me. He was physically abusive, emotionally abusive. I didn't think he loved me. He forced me to go find father figures and love from men in other places, which led me right into the hands of a pedophile who molested me. I just never kind of, like, felt like I could. Like, I always struggled with male authority because of it, and then ultimately I ended up in, the grips of addiction with drugs and alcohol. But I got a job in a restaurant, and I worked in restaurants in every position from 12 to 39 till I opened up my first, 12 to 29 until I opened up my first restaurant. And when I was 23 years old, I started kind of exploring with alcohol and drugs at around 12, and it got real ugly there for about 10, 11 years. It was my escape route. It was my, and I'm also grateful for it, because there was at that time in my life, I was pretty sad, and it was pretty dark, and I tried to cut my wrists, and I was battling. I was becoming a teenager. I didn't, there was a lot going on in my life that I was just unclear about. And I didn't have the dad to kind of, like, put his arm around me and be like, everything's gonna be okay, son. As a matter of fact, it was the exact opposite. So had I not found substances, who knows, maybe I would have jumped off a building. right? But I found them, and they saved my ass, and they gave me, like, I felt comfortable and confident in my own skin, and I needed that. I needed some sort of escape, and it came right at the perfect time for me. You know?
Oh, that's another cool perspective. Yeah, almost like understanding the importance of it in your life. So okay, so you got it. Well, I guess I don't know if you're still in the restaurant, out of the restaurant.
Well, no. So I started. So this was like about 10 years. You know, I was working in restaurants, having the best time ever, drinking a lot, partying a lot. You know, and not until I became 18, 19 did that partying become like start to get really bad. And I mean, it was bad the whole way through, but it became less about partying and way more about reliance then. And it became a lifestyle. And I got involved with a lot of the bad people, but I was still working in restaurants. I graduated high school, but I was still working in restaurants. I got involved with a lot of bad people. I was doing bad things. I was definitely, a bit of a criminal and using. And ultimately, I ended up overdosing on heroin, right? And heroin became a part of my story towards the end of that 10, 11 years. And I had to make a decision. And that decision was, dude, do you want to live or do you want to die? Like, this is real. You OD'd, like, you're knocking on the door, and you need to make a call here. So I got very lucky, and I was lucky enough to make the decision to say I want to live. I reached out for help. That's when I met Marcus, who I was talking about earlier. He came into my life, and he immediately introduced me to fitness and nutrition and the sober community. And in the sober community, that's where I kind of started my journey with God and developing that relationship. But really, what Marcus brought into my life was he asked me to commit to fitness and nutrition. What I put into my body and how I move my body is going to determine how I feel. And how I feel, and
so that was part of like your journey.
That was it. Oh yeah.
Well, that's cool.
He basically said to me, "Is
that a normal thing?"
No.
Like, okay.
I mean, there's a
I feel like it should be.
Oh, 100%.
Like
100%.
Like with therapy, all these kinds of things. Like
it should be. There's 12 steps. It should be the 13th, or it should be the 12th.
Intertwined with
So he said, look, I want you to commit to this fitness and nutrition thing that I'm gonna write out for you, because how you move your body and what you put into your body is ultimately going to dictate how you feel, and how you feel right now in your life is going to dictate whether you stay sober or not. So if I can make you feel good by introducing healthy things to your life, you're gonna ultimately want to continue doing them, and you're gonna perform well. And then all of a sudden, how you feel is gonna dictate how you look, because when you feel good, when you look good, you feel good. I think Deion Sanders said it best: you look good, you feel good, you perform good, right? Like that's what it is, and that was the philosophy. And so I got just hooked on eating well and training hard, and that's basically what happened. So, I put enough years together in sobriety. I got sober just before my 24th birthday. By the time I was 28, I'd gone back to school. I got a degree in culinary arts and restaurant management. And I said, man, I'm ready to do this. And I wrote a business plan. I put it in front of all the regulars at the restaurant that I was working at. And they all wrote me a check. And I opened up my first business.
That's awesome.
And so I opened up Meatball Shop, learned what it meant to be a business owner, and raised more money, opened up 6 of those, sold some equity, started another restaurant concept called Seymour's, crushed it with that, did the exact same thing, raised some more money, opened up 6 of those, sold equity in November of 2019 in that business, and then boom, the pandemic hit. And that was a moment where I could pause. For the first time in whatever it was, 10 years of running restaurants, I was not pausing for anyone.
Yeah.
Like I was just, when it came to business, it was like, and I was able to say, is this really what you want to do for the rest of your life? Like, if there's ever been an opportunity to step out of the restaurant business, you've been in restaurants since you're 12, you're now 39 or whatever it was. It was 5-6 years ago, so I was 39. This would be the time to take a pivot out and try to figure out another path so that there'd be no problem having breakfast and dinner with your family every day. And that was the impetus for Creatures of Habit, man. I applied my, my introduction to nutrition and fitness, Marcus told me 21 years ago in the morning. He said, dude, basically my meal plan was oatmeal in the morning at 10 o'clock after you, not at 10 o'clock. Oatmeal in the morning is your first meal of the day. Chicken and broccoli is going to be your lunch. Chicken and broccoli is going to be your dinner. Broccoli. That was it. And I was like, man.
I'd be like, screw this.
Well, he made it simple for me. At that point, I was desperate. He was like, dude.
Steak and broccoli or something.
So he gave me that plan, and, I there was a lot of other things in there, but those are, I've been eating oatmeal every morning since then. I've obviously added a bunch of things to it to make it taste better, to optimize it, whatever. But when I was thinking about the next thing for me, I was like, man, what the hell am I going to do? It just kind of popped in my head. I've been eating this oatmeal for so long. It's fueled me through getting sober, meeting the woman of my dreams, getting married, having kids, opening businesses, competing in sports, becoming a pro bodybuilder. Like all these things that I did over the course of the last, whatever that was, 17, 18 years in sobriety, I use this as my first meal of the day. It set the tone for the day for me nutritionally. And I said, man, if I can figure out a way to get all those ingredients that I use in my oatmeal, plus my supplement stack into a pouch, not only do I have a cool product that I think will help other people kickstart their day right, convenient, easy, tasty, 30 grams of protein, all the things, but I'll be able to tell my story of overcoming adversity and using wellness as a catalyst to my success.
Yeah, that's beautiful, man. Well, hopefully, just for the sake of time, hopefully we can do a part 2 if you come to Utah again.
Sure.
But last couple questions. What's it like having Gary Vee as an investor?
Awesome. He's awesome. He's been super supportive, and I don't pull the Gary Vee card off much, but when I need to, I do, and he shows up, and so the fact that he was really one of the first guys that believed in the business just, I think, says a lot, he believes in the founder more than, look, the guy's not an oatmeal dude, right? But I think he's the first to admit that, he bets on jockeys, not horses necessarily. And in this case, he bet on the jockey, and, we're 4 years in, a little over 4 years in, and it's working, and so having guys like that on my side to support always is an asset.
How did you just DM him, or what did you do?
So I met Gary in 2018 when he launched Empathy Wines. I had a bunch of restaurants in New York, and I knew that Empathy Wines was a direct-to-consumer wine business. So I just DM'd him, and I said, hey, I know that Empathy is direct-to-consumer, but I have 12 restaurants in New York City, and I'd love to be the exclusive, restaurant group to sell Empathy Wines. What do you think? And he knew my restaurants. We knew probably more than a couple of people, but we had a bunch of common, mutual friends. And he got right back to me. He said, come to the office. Came to the office. We started talking. He immediately called in his crew. We shot a podcast right there.
That's cool.
And then
that's really cool.
I sold a bunch of wine for him, and yeah.
That's awesome. So is that a big company, that wine business?
He sold it.
Oh,
he built it. He built it quick. I think he sold it in 3-4 years.
Oh, so by the time you talked to him, did he already sell it?
No. By the time, I connected with him on it in, I think, 2017 or 2018, and I was still running Seymour's until the end of 2019. So
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Because with the whole wine library thing, did he just promote it through that? Or
Probably.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but he was promoting it heavy through his channels.
Yeah. That's cool.
And he's got a super engaged audience.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, last question. What is the hardest thing you've ever done in your life?
Hands down, 100%, without a question, getting sober. Probably the hardest thing I've ever done. The greatest thing I've ever done. The hardest and the greatest. My life is... Anybody listening to this podcast that's struggling with addiction in any way, shape, or form, whether it's with alcohol, drugs, food, gambling, sex, money, spending, putting a pin in that is possible. There are solutions for it. And unfortunately, the only way for people that struggle with addiction to have true happiness in their life is to get into recovery for that addiction. Because when you're addicted, it's all you think about. You are just unbelievably selfish. That is true selfish, right? And it's a mental disease. It's a brain disease, addiction, you know? It's like actually a scientifically proven disease. Our lipid systems fire. It's a mental illness, you know? It's you know, popularized through addiction or drug addiction, alcoholism, whatever. But the fact is that it is a brain illness, and it's the drug and the alcohol are a symptom of us addicts trying to medicate the illness, which basically, you know, the lipid system fires far like a 10x what a normal person's lipid system fires at, and that is what controls the dopamine in your body. So when I find something I like, I am on it hard. Like I am going for it. I want it all the time. Something that I don't like, I want nothing to do with it. And that's the difference between me and like a person who doesn't have addiction. Addiction is the sort of characterization or what it is classified as. And so anybody listening who is struggling with addiction, I know that it might seem impossible to come out on the other side and have an awesome life where you're not relying on this drug to hide behind. But I am here to tell you that I was deeply addicted to alcohol, cocaine, heroin, pills, crack, all of it. I did it all in abundance all the time. It was my life. It was what I did. And I never thought that I was going to live past 25. And I never thought that I would be able to live, more than a day or two without using. And I'm here to tell you that I've gone 21 years and probably 36 days without a single speck of alcohol, drugs, or any mood or mind-altering substance. And my life is absolutely incredible. And I don't say that like, woohoo, pat me on the back, I got a trophy for this one. I say that because it's a fact. And on the other side of the street, which I've been on, I hate myself. And there's no way to love when you hate yourself. And at the end of all of this, it's all about love. It's all about love. You're addicted because you're struggling to get closer to love. And when you get rid of the substance or the gambling or the sex addiction or whatever it is, then and only then can you actually begin to love yourself. And, you know, it's a beautiful story when it actually plays out. Love it, man. Michael Chernow, thank you for coming on. So stoked, man. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you.